got massive economic gains. You have low to no inventory. Your vacancy rate is less than 1%. We don't have enough places to rent. We don't have enough places to buy. Your economy's surging, and guess what? Of all major communities, we still have the most affordable housing for rent and for purchase, which means as a percentage of income of all the major cities, we are the lowest percentage that goes to putting a roof over your head, whether that's renting or buying. Yeah.
Uh-oh, cash flow. Hold on.
Sorry.
I'm getting distracted.
We cracked the code, baby. You want to see a cash flow of over $1,000 a month on a duplex? Because you're going to see it.
The answer is yes.
Yeah, and we can do that over and over and over again right now. We got a builder that has 6 homes that he hasn't sold yet. Like, look where we're at. 24 grand. We're making $2 grand cash flow a month on this house.
Welcome back to the Canadian Real Estate Channel. I'm Adam J.D. Martin, your host, and today I've got Rhys Trenhaile here from the Vanguard team. We're talking about Windsor, and we just got a fantastic market update from Rhys on Windsor. If you haven't seen that, go watch it after this video. Today, we're going to give you some more context about what it matters to be investing in Windsor today. So, Rhys, what have you got for us?
Yeah, I'll get straight to it. Really quickly, guys, as always, we do have another YouTube channel just specific to Windsor, Ontario. I've got some great interviews, etc., going up, and it's all complimentary to what we're doing here on the channel. So there you go. So this is a market update. This is month by month. I usually go year over year to compare the years, but there's some really good information here to go by month to month. And one of them is, look at the massive new listing drop from November to December, right? 879 to 420. That is a significantly, I mean, you're putting so much pressure on the market because you're not putting enough product onto the market, right? So supply and demand becomes an issue. Not today. It'll become an issue. This will have a knock-on effect sort of 90 days from now, sort of March and April, where you just don't have enough houses hitting the market, right? Median sales price right now, like, I am personally and pleasantly surprised how low it is right now at 355,000. I'll say this: it is the average price sold is 420,000 right now. And look where the median price is. And if you don't know the difference, the average just takes all the properties. Let's say there's 50 sales, and it divides the total number by 50, and that's the average. Median looks at what the middle, if there was 200 houses sold, it looks at the 100th sale in the middle, and that's your median. So you don't usually see a big skew between median and average, but you do right now. And what that's telling us is that luxury homes are starting to sell again, right? Because the median sales price is a lot lower than the average price. Really interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting for sure.
Yeah, so months of inventory, 3.6 from 3.5. That's nothing. That's a flat line. What you glean from that, guys, is a balanced market, which are the healthiest markets, are at about a 4, right? And you're at about a 3.6. That means it's still in favor of the vendors a little bit. And you can kind of see that at the bottom here from the sales to list price ratio, right? It is in favor of the vendors a little bit. There's obviously bidding wars going on because properties are selling just above asking price on the average. So really interesting things there. But the biggest thing to take away as an investor, especially if you've been sitting on the fence and you're financially qualified, you've been waiting. Guess what? Everybody waits. And the problem with that right now is you got this coming right. You got this coming right here. This shortage of listings that you're seeing here, and the shortage of sales, the number of sales in December, look at this, 226. That's not just Windsor, that's Windsor Essex. That's the entire county. So if you've got barely any sales going on, and you've got barely any inventory coming online, and you've got the hottest the hottest economy in Canada. It's not even close. You have over 1,000 people moving here a month. Where are they going? Right? Where are they going? This is a powder keg waiting to happen. And I don't want to hear from you. I hear way too many people every time I've predicted this sort of thing over the last 20 years. I got too many people that say later, oh, I should have listened to you. Well, yeah, you should have listened to me. We would have both, I would have got a commission. You would have been wealthy. You know, so guys, understand that's what's going on right now. Is as you know, you're already seeing the interest rates stabilize, which gives the consumer a sense of comfort and confidence to buy a property. As you see the interest rates go down, which all 5 major banks' chief economists have predicted, you're going to see the property values go up. And the reason for that is not only are you going to have a surge, a massive surge of buyers hit the market, you're going to have a massive surge of buyers hit the market while there's no inventory, or not enough inventory anyway. So guys, you know, if you're qualified, man, like you're seeing what the median price is, like we can sell you an income property in the low 300s quite comfortably right now. We're not going to be able to do that 6 months from now. A duplex will be back over $400,000 real fast, real fast. So there's a real opportunity right now, real opportunity.
Yeah, and it's worth mentioning at the same time that rents are actually very strong in Windsor as well at the moment. And so like yesterday, for example, we were doing our live call, right? So every Tuesday I come live and I'm breaking down deals that are on the MLS, and we're looking at properties in those low 3s. And you can really quickly make sense out of properties like that from all sorts of different investment strategies where you have lots of exit strategies available to you. And the appreciation can be a bonus, right? The appreciation, buying smart can be a bonus of that.
Well, even think of the risk mitigation when you're entering into a community like Windsor, where the economy is projected to continue to rocket. You have cash flow now. Wait till we get into my case studies later, guys. You want to see a cash flow of over $1,000 a month on a duplex? Because you're going to see it.
The answer is yes.
Yeah, and we can do that over and over and over again right now. This is not unique. This is what I'm going to be showing you guys in a bit. Boy, I sounded really authoritative there, didn't I?
I like it. Hey, $1,000 a month cash flow. That's why people come to the channel, man. That's why we're here.
Well, that's what I mean, right? We cracked the code, baby. It's time to brag about it and get you guys down here if you haven't been down here yet. So you've got massive economic gains. You have low to no inventory. Your vacancy rate is less than 1%. We don't have enough places to rent. We don't have enough places to buy. Your economy's surging, and guess what? Of all major communities, we still have the most affordable housing for rent and for purchase, which means as a percentage of income of all the major cities, we are the lowest percentage that goes to putting a roof over your head, whether that's renting or buying. So in stating those factoids that are measurable and they're out there, putting those all together, guys, from an investor's perspective, do you think that means real estate prices are going to go up or down? Do you think that means the rents are going to go up or down, right? Because rents can go up. We can afford more than any other major city. We can afford our rents to go up, and they are going up, right? Our housing prices are going to follow. They always do.
Drop it in the comments, guys. Let's get into a debate here. If you think Rhys is off the mark, let us know in the comments, because I know there's been comments too, right? People saying like, okay, Rhys, when's it going to happen then? Like, why am I not seeing it yet? And it's like, that's the point of a powder keg, guys. It builds up. Demand builds up. And while we don't build
the worst comment, and I've had this for 20 years, the worst comment is, well, he's just saying that because he's a real estate agent. They all real estate agents say the market's going up all the time. Yes, you are correct. They all do, except for, you can find me well documented saying the market's going to be going down because. So yes, I know all real estate agents say that. Please don't bunch me up with the rest of them. I follow my own advice as far as my investments. So do my real estate agents on my team. They're all investors. One of them's driving a Lamborghini, right?
Yeah. Well, there's a reason, right, that we have Rhys on the channel, right? Rhys is an investor himself, and he works with investors, and that's the only people we let on the channel, by the way. So if you're just watching the channel for the first time, that's some good context to have, right? We don't let people on the channel who aren't buying.
I've been investing since I was 22 years old, when I was at the University of Windsor as a student, and I was renting to other students.
Awesome.
So, I mean, this has been in my DNA right from the beginning. I graduated from law school. I'm a lawyer. I don't practice. I went into real estate sales. I mean, real estate investment is a passion, and man, it is. I am driven to generate wealth for people. So are my teammates.
Yeah.
This is not residential real estate agent stuff. Like we are.
Stay away from that.
Oh, we're keyed in, man. We just want to make people wealthy because from a greedy standpoint, from a capitalistic pig standpoint, we get paid.
Well, yeah.
Wealthy, you're going to buy multiple properties off us. We get multiple commissions. Like, everybody wins.
Absolutely.
Why would we want to sell you a hunk of junk? That's going to cut off our future commissions with you.
Right? That's the beauty of capitalism, right?
Yeah, but that's how an income property agent thinks, right? And yeah, sadly, there's not enough of us. Well, no, for us, it's a good thing there's not enough of us, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. So actually, in saying that, Rhys, like, you've been living in Windsor now for, like you just mentioned, like, it's been over 20 years, let's just say. Yeah. And, you've been there for a long time. And one of the things that we were talking about just before we started recording was kind of the leadership in the community and sort of why you think Windsor is actually headed in such a great direction. Yeah. And so I would love, like, if we want to have that discussion here for the audience, like, what is it about Windsor that is making it so successful now? And I know we've talked about economic factors in the past, and I think, like, before we started recording, you were bringing up some of the context of that. And I think it's really important for people to understand, like the leadership of a city, the direction that it's taking is really important for how we look at the future, right? Like, how do we forecast the success of an entire city? And I think you brought up some really good points before we started recording. So I would love to share that with everyone.
So, guys, before I get into this particular slide and who this guy is, understand that over the last 20 years, Windsor's had really good community leaders, right? So we've had back-to-back rock star mayors, and they're not without their faults, but overall extremely competent human beings that are just, if you have any context at all with the rest of, the other major cities, I mean, we've had back-to-back two of the best mayors you could possibly have. You can complain all you want, but that's the reality. But we've also had major cabinet ministers that have gotten a lot of important infrastructure things done down here and created policies and deals sort of all over the place. And that creates a foundation, right? And it's not just the political leaders that we've had that have been really good over the last 20 years. It's like the presidents of the universities have been really good for the last 20 years. The presidents of St. Clair College have been really good for the last. And you're able to build, you go, oh, wait, university in St. Clair, who cares? No. Like, a lot of research and development done properly is public-private partnership between the university and private practice, right? Companies. So, like, one of the old cabinet ministers, for example, the engineering school at the University of Windsor was building a new $54 million engineering department. And Dwight, the finance minister at the time, he's from Windsor. He said, no, guys, you're building a $127 million engineering firm facility, and you're going to put a massive research and development wing off the back so you can work with. And when you do things like that, all of a sudden Windsor becomes the #1 center in North America for software automation for cars. That doesn't happen without these leadership moments and this competency at that level. So when everybody goes, wow, why did Windsor get the biggest battery plant in North America, able to do more gigawatt production than the entire United States combined? And yes, I'm including Elon Musk and Tesla. How did Windsor get this? Well, this is 20 years in the making, guys. And we still have those good community leaders. So, and I do remember a time where we didn't. It used to be 1 step forward, 2 steps back around here. Now it's the opposite. It's 2 steps forward and maybe 3/4 of a step backwards. But yeah, we're not.
I mean, it is interesting because, like, something like that could easily get plopped down in Alberta or Saskatchewan or anywhere else, right? Like, there's no is never guaranteed that Windsor would get that. So speaking about the leadership of the community and their drive to focus on things like that is actually really important, because like you could easily see something like that going into Alberta. So yeah, I mean, it's really great insight to be talking about what's actually going on and sort of how we got there and what we think that's going to do to the future of the city.
Sure. Well, yeah, I mean, one reason you're seeing all the battery plants landing in Ontario and Quebec is because the energy the energy grids in both provinces have gone almost all non-carbon, right? So the automotive companies feel that it's hypocritical. It would be hypocritical if they built, green tech on an energy grid that wasn't green, right? Kind of defeats the purpose, right? So that's why you're seeing them pop up in Ontario and Quebec more than other provinces, So yeah, and guys, that's not political. That's just, I'm selling real estate here. So the reason I've got this slide up is because this guy was brilliant. And is brilliant. He's not leaving Windsor, and I'm bringing this up for a reason. Stephen is moving to the University of Windsor, and what his new role is basically doing facilitation between academia and all these companies now coming to Windsor to do further research and development and further innovation. And you guys, if you guys don't really, I mean, R&D. Wherever you get R&D hubs, wherever you get research and development hubs is where you get new companies, new technologies, and you'll get an explosion of thousands of jobs out of nowhere. And we've seen this with Waterloo. Funnily enough, Mike Lazaridis, who's from Windsor, Herman High School graduate, he created the BlackBerry, and Jim Balsillie was the hype man and the big boisterous guy at BlackBerry. But that was a great example of how Waterloo created a tech hub. And then out of that, you got the thousands of jobs. But it starts with research and development, right? So Stephen is moving to another important position, and somebody else will replace him as the head of the Development Commission in Windsor Essex. This guy has been brilliant. And just to put in perspective, a lot of the reason we got that battery plant was because we were already battle hardened. We were already ready to compete for these things. We're always competing against the Americans down here in Windsor. And so, yep. Stephen, I'm not going to prattle on, but he anticipated that battery plants would start inquiring. They put the package together before anybody asked. So they were able to provide an answer within 3 weeks of everything the battery plant wanted.
Awesome.
And they're like, who are these guys? Like the guys from South Korea, LG, are like, to Stellantis, like, so Windsor always like this? And they're like, yeah, they're good. Okay, well, forget the other 27 cities we're looking at.
Wow.
We're going to Windsor. Yeah, they did. They literally cut it off and said, right, we're going to Windsor. They want us.
Yep. Discipline equals freedom. So I like that.
So I bring this up because it's important to understand the kind of community leadership we have in the community. It's guys like Stephen. The reason we have Stephen is because we've got a good mayor. The good mayor put Stephen. We recruited Stephen from Connecticut, right? The previous manifestation of the Development Commission was an absolute disaster, and it was an absolute disaster for 10 years. But when you have good leadership, you're able to hire other good leaders, right? And this is the knock-on effect of, well, why is Windsor all of a sudden rising like a phoenix? That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
for
amazing.
Context. Yeah. And yeah, so what you're seeing now is you're seeing announcement after announcement after announcement of these plants that support the battery plant. They're all local for two reasons. One is that we are the world center for tool, die, and mold innovation. So it becomes a lot easier for these guys to set up shop because you have the skilled labor already, and you're able to put these factories together like that, right, with the tools, etc. The other thing is that batteries are fragile until they're fully created. So they don't want them moving too far away from the big plant. The big plant wants the small plants close to the big plant. So you're going to see these announcements over and over and over again. And then what happens is that this battery plant is going to be operational 2 years before the next big battery plants. So when the next big battery plants, like in St. Thomas, for example, come online, that battery plant is going to be looking for proven manufacturers that can support that plant. Well, yeah. Windsor's had a 2-year head start.
Yep.
So guess who's going to get a ton of that work? 80% of it, right? So that's what's coming, guys. That's what's coming.
I love it. Yeah, that's really fantastic insight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-oh, cash flow. Hold on.
Sorry.
I'm getting distracted.
Oh, my bad. Get y'all excited.
Woo!
I can smell the profits.
Yeah, I just did right now. Down, boy.
Do you want me to move on?
Hey, you don't have to, but I know what everybody's thinking about now.
I know. Let's do it. We cracked the code, baby. We did talk about this a little bit last month on the last interview. I brought on Sadie Morrow off of my team. She's been selling condos and townhouses that are 2 to 3 bedrooms. And those are perfect for what we're doing here. But so are duplexes, and quite frankly, so are new home builds. So we got a builder that has 6 homes that he hasn't sold yet. He sold like 100 of them, market slowed down, and he had 6 left. So he reached out to us. And he had already designed these houses to have an additional dwelling unit in the basement, right? Because he's an investor himself. I've known him for years. And I'm like, you did? I was like, okay, well, we'll crunch the numbers. By the way, guys, these 6 properties are near where all the manufacturing is going on, building the battery plants and everything right now. So this property for the next 7 years becomes very easy to rent out to the tradespeople, the construction workers, the supervisors and the executives that are working on contract, building all the facilities. They're not going to be here forever, but they're building the facilities. So what you'll see here is total rent is based on renting to the workers. So you'll have a couple in a unit in the basement, and you'll have a couple upstairs. And so we've confirmed approximate taxes, insurance, etc. You're coming out to a net operating income of $51,000. Even if you have, here's the other kicker: the builder's willing to hold the mortgage at 2% interest, right? And the crazy thing is you don't even need that 2% to get tons of profit. He's just juicing your profit. Like, look where we're at. 24 grand. We're making $2 grand cash flow a month on this house. Hey guys, I said 6. I'm showing you the one right now that we sold. There's 5 left, right? And we just started this week. So, brand new house, cash flowing to $2 grand a month. And I'm telling you right now, we have more tradespeople waiting for these places than we have places for them, right? So you can start doing that. You can have the leases in place during your conditional period, purchasing the property. You're going to already have the tenants lined up. So the guy I just showed you, Stephen McKenzie at the Development Commission, we're only one of 20 groups that deal directly with the companies that are coming to town to rent these spaces out. And
so just to be clear, like, if you guys are helping people to get into these deals, like, are you also helping them to place these tenants?
So we defer to a property manager.
Okay.
But she's part of our team, Tori McKay. Guys, don't bother trying to do this yourself. We've had a couple people try that.
So for the viewer, for the person at home right now thinking like, wow, these numbers are fantastic. Like, I want in on that. Like, to what degree are you guys handling this experience? Like, is this truly white glove where you're going to like?
Well, it is white glove, because technically it's 2 white gloves, right? We sort of set it up, and then Tori, who's separate to us, she rents them out. But think about it, guys. Like, a big company that is focused on building a battery plant, and there's a bunch of them here, they don't want to hear from you directly. Then what do they want to talk to 20 different landlords? Like, get out of here. Of course they don't. So they invited about 20 sort of builders and investors and blah blah blah, including me. I was at the table, and we sat down with the executives, and we became the point people to get these people into spaces. So you might luck out with some advertising and get some, but if you want to make it super easy, you just do it through us.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, guys, like, profit per unit per month, $1,000. The coverage ratio, what the banks love? They love 1.25 to 1.3 coverage ratios. You're at a 1.89, right?
Yeah.
So, I can't do any better than this. Like, stop sitting on the fence and get your butt moving, because this stuff doesn't last. Boy,
Yeah, I mean, like,
I'm
numbers like this
today.
are incredible.
What's that?
Numbers like this are just incredible, right?
Well,
So like
that's it. Like, what
and
else?
again, if
What
somebody
else
has
do you
an
want me to
easy
do?
button, like if somebody has an easy button to do this, then it's really a no-brainer.
The builder, that's not just for 1 year. The builder's willing to hold 2% for, 2-3 years, no problem. And I mean, the interest rates are dropping back down.
Yeah.
It's giving you a head start, man.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, and then this is another way that we do it. So this is a duplex that Stephanie Saunders on our team just sold. And the bizarre thing is, we almost didn't sell this place to our investor base. It was like literally the one buyer. And guys, we got a roster of, thousands of you guys. And we almost couldn't sell it. It was mind blowing. It was basically, if you can't sell it, then Stephanie ends up buying it and does it with her husband. That way she's not in the way of the client base. So she was happy that she got the sale, but she was also like, oh, that would have been a nice one. But how do you only have one buyer for this place? Right? Like, look at the numbers. And bear in mind, like, there's no slum area. There's no slum area in Windsor, right? The worst you're going to have is a lower income neighborhood. Okay.
So is the idea here that so like each side's rented $2,500 a month, and then, yeah,
I think approximately, yeah. What is it?
Yeah.
30,000, 2,500. You're right.
Yep. So
Yeah.
2,500 a side, which doesn't look like, I mean, that seems like a very reasonable rent, right? For the city.
Let me stop you there. Like, so the 2,500, I think it's, hold on, 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom. Yeah. So Stephanie and I argued about this one.
Right.
Because Tori rents these out at 3,000.
Okay.
To 2 workers per side. And I said, Steph, I said, you're doing yourself a disservice advertising 2,500 a side. I said, why don't you go like 2,750, 2,800? That's still safe. She goes, Rhys, look at the numbers already.
Yeah. No, I mean, the numbers are fantastic.
Yeah.
Right?
So bear in mind, the real numbers are higher than this. And I know if you're hearing me for the first time, and you're like, oh, you're just another real estate agent, But we do go safe on the numbers because we do it ourselves as investors.
Yeah.
And we use the numbers that we use for ourselves. That's what we provide the investors. So Stephanie is small c conservative almost by nature. And that's why she's saying, well, I haven't done this too many times with Tori yet, so I'm going to reduce the numbers. Right. But she's going to get through.
What I like that you have included in your numbers, and we talked about this yesterday on my sort of AMA thing, like you've got vacancy in there at 4%. That's great. Your city vacancy is probably less than that to begin with. And then you've also got exactly. So you're budgeting in actually some extra cash there, and you've got maintenance, which a lot of people forget to talk about. And you know what? At 5%, like to be honest with you, I've never spent 5% in maintenance ever on a property. So like it is good to have that though. I include 5% in all of my sheets, but again, like that's a potential number where you could just pocket another 2,800. Like, I mean, how much is a smoke detector or a plunger on a toilet? Like, it's not really that much. So
I do. I mean, the reason we have it at 5%, I mean, really, if you broke it down, maintenance would be about 3%.
Sure.
And then the other 2% would be long-term capital improvements, like the roof goes or the HVAC goes. Do you know what I mean? Yep,
absolutely. But I just want to point out to the people watching, like, again, that's more conservation built in. So like if you're investing from away from Windsor, like building these into your numbers is a really smart idea. But I mean, if you're in Windsor, I mean, like, come on, management at 8.5%, like you could easily go and do it for less yourself if you wanted to, if you want to see that number go up. But I mean, average profit per unit there at the bottom, 460 is fantastic, right? You got a duplex. I mean, 460 by 2, it's 920. That's a lot of profit per month.
Yeah, like, you're basically about $1,000 a month.
That's a lot, right? Yeah. Like that's a big number. Like, because we were reviewing deals in London yesterday. We're not getting that.
No, well,
we're not getting that.
You're only able to, I mean, if you do this duplex in a traditional way with traditional tenants, you would still cash flow.
Yeah.
But you would be a lot lower than this.
Yep.
yeah, it's just we're able to satiate a demand. There's not enough housing for these workers, and they pay top dollar, and they're paying you with a stipend from their corporation that they work for, the company they work for. And most of them are only there to sleep. They're
Yep.
working 12 to 14-hour days. They come back, they crash, they go back to work. But on Friday, they go to work and they don't come back. They go up the 401 back home to their
Right.
wife and kids,
Yep.
right? Or their husband and kids, or whatever
Smart.
the case may be.
Yep.
And then they come back down early Monday morning and they do the whole cycle again. And they'll do it anywhere from 6 months to 3 years, depending on the task.
Awesome.
So, yeah. And, you know, it's funny because Windsorrites are used to that, right? So, like my buddies that are industrial electricians and all sorts of trades like that, they travel the world, you know, assembling tool and die machinery and all that kind of stuff for other companies.
Mm-hmm.
That even got into the news a little bit, right? There was some political chirping that, we're bringing in South Koreans to.
Oh yeah, actually that was a big topic.
Well, yeah, and Windsor was like pissed. Like the community leaders right down here wanted to kill the people that started that narrative. I'm not going to say any names because I don't want to get political.
Yeah.
What a dumbass move. And the other thing is it confuses Windsorites because the vast majority of us have friends and family that go around the world assembling machinery.
Yep.
We are the world's leaders in tool, die, and mold assembly. Like this is in creating the machines and then assembling the machines. Like you can't just go to South Africa and have a bunch of South Africans trained up overnight to assemble a super unique, bespoke machine that takes up an entire city block.
Yep.
You just can't.
Absolutely.
And even if you do, how are you going to protect your warranty? You
Yep.
know, so of course these companies send their own guys in to assemble, man. Yeah,
Yep.
so
makes sense.
I like straight facts. I don't like sidewinding, man.
Well,
Yeah,
the fact of the matter is globalization exists for a reason, right?
Yeah,
it's based on comparative and absolute advantages and what we should be producing and what we should be doing with our labor. Certain areas will have better specialized labor for certain products and services, and that is a fact, right? Yeah. That's a fact of life. Yeah. If you don't want that, then you become an isolationist and you lose a lot. If you're upset about these workers coming in to do this specific job, you don't want to be an isolationist because you'll find out really quickly that Canadians don't know how to do a lot of the things that we enjoy the products and service of.
Well,
so that's macroeconomics.
Canadians in particular is well said, buddy. But yeah, Canadians in particular, I mean, we're an exporting nation.
That's right.
And our companies invest in foreign companies a lot more than foreign companies invest in us. Like it's all to our advantage.
Yep.
You know, and it's why Canada has become very wealthy over the last 50, 60 years, right?
We don't have it without that. So, well, yeah. Awesome. Let's keep going because I know we've got a few more deals here that you wanted to cover.
No, that's it.
I wanted
to show two examples of recent sales. I do want to toot my horn on one thing. I showed you earlier there was only 226 sales in Windsor Essex in December. If you look at just sort of LaSalle, Windsor, Tecumseh, Lakeshore, which is sort of where we operate, there was only about 145 sales. And my little team, we did 9 of them.
Nice.
So yes, that was our highest market share. We're over 6% of the entire market, which, you know, when you're talking 1,800 real estate agents down here, you know, for a team of 7 to do 6% of the market, I was pretty happy with everybody. Yeah,
that's fantastic.
They did great.
And guys, I know he's holding back on you. He's got more deals for you, but you're going to have to reach out to Rhys himself to get access to those. He's just being coy.
Well, hey, jokes aside, one guy alone on my team has 7 listings coming up, and they're all duplexes, and they're all
awesome.
They're all income. He doesn't do anything. Steve Gerouge does nothing but 2-unit to 6-unit sales. That's all he eats, sleeps, and breathes, right? And yeah, so you're right. I mean, guys, all my contact information is below, like our YouTube channel or Facebook investment group. But almost more importantly to you guys, you need to reach out. You need to connect to the specialist on my team that caters to what you like investing in. If it's burst strategy, that's Stephanie. 2 to 6 unit multifamily, that's Steve. Large ICI properties, commercial industrial, that's Greg. Apartment buildings, that's Greg. Right? Sadie, all the condos, all the townhouses, right? Like we're very specialized in our investment niches. So if you go to that stuff, I think my landing page is below here too. You can input what your goals are, and then you can select whether you just want to go on the mass email list for our exclusive listings and our pre-MLS listings. Like this property I just showed you, not this one, that's not on the MLS. That's making $2,000 a month. It's not on the MLS.
Yeah. Awesome.
Right? It was. The builder gave up because he wasn't marketing it through people like us that do income property sales.
Yep.
So all I'm saying is, guys, yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up. Engage with us. You're not wasting our time, and we'll figure out where you fit. And if you're not ready today, we'll tell you how to get to a point where you are ready. You got to have financial readiness. You got to have mental readiness, right? So
yep.
There you go.
Well, guys, you heard it here first. And thanks again, Rhys, for coming back on the Canadian Real Estate Channel. We love having experts like yourself who are not only selling the products, but also investing in the products yourself and using these things every day. So, guys, if you like this content, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you go check out Rhys's channel as well, because he's specifically talking about Windsor there. So if you want to go deeper on Windsor, go check him out. And we will be back here every single month with market updates from Rhys and talking more about the context of why it's probably a good idea for you to consider investing in Windsor and what you can expect from the city, because Rhys is plugged in. I mean, he's like super, super plugged into Windsor and what's going on there. So we hope to see you guys back here next month. I'm Adam J.D. Martin, your host, and we'll see you here.